YouTube and Facebook. If you are tuned in, also, you will be added in just a few. You're about to be added on TikTok. Also, sorry for those who are getting that delay because what I want to do before I run TikTok is I need to make sure that this other is charged. So, as you can see, the topic: are all men ready for full time provider status? That's coming. Are you ready for full time provider status that is coming? Yay or nay? My additional question is also: are the women ready for the full time provider status of the men? That is apparently the new relationship order. So, whether or not whatever is brewing will actually be able to follow through in its completion over the next 100 days, I can't say that for certain. But what I can say is enough has happened to make me say, I do think that it is possible that when we take a look at what is written in Project 2025, and when we take a look at you know, what is apparently being stated as to the order that they would like for things to go in order for there to be completion with the agenda that has been put out, it is apparent that this will happen, right? But the time frame that it will happen in will probably be highly debatable and probably will be discussed for a long time to come. Let me turn something off. I forgot to turn a few things off to kind of get that stronger connection going, right? So that's the question. That's where we are today. I would be playing music when but because we are not just on TikTok, which is the app that does allow us to have a little background going while we wait for people to kind of chime in and maybe add their thoughts. Um, I'm on two additional platforms that do not allow it and have a lot of restrictions. So you are just going to have to kind of put up with the silence or the delays or whether or not we'll even be able to have the conversation go the direction that I desire for it to go. Either way, I am recording this and it will be available in What D Says, the podcast, if series that streams 24/7 on YouTube. So you can click What D Says the podcast for this particular episode. It will not be available if you listen to my podcast on Apple or iHeart or any of the other podcast platforms. It's not going to stay available on there. And Facebook, it will not stay up on there. It will be removed after this live. So it will only be available to go back and revisit and talk it out and chat along with it, with people that you want to have the discussion with throughout the week. It will be available on YouTube. So I'm going to make sure that I at least keep some version of it if it allows me to do so. So we have so many of these conversations happening where there's a discussion going on as we stroll through all the different popular talks going on. We have the discussion going on with whether or not um, whether or not men should be paying 50-50, and then we have the discussion going on in regards to men being 100% providers. So we have a lot of this going on, but I really still, in all the conversation that I hear going on, I don't see that everyone is actually ready. So think about your answer. Going to take a few moments to get everything set up on the other platform so that I can hear from anyone that may want to chime in on the other platform. And you are listening right now, wherever you're listening, you will be able to hear it from the other platform. And you can feel free to join the discussion. Once I have it set up over there, you'll be able to join that discussion also. Thank you for stopping by and stick around. The topic will begin in just a few. Thank you for sticking around, and the topic is going to begin in a few. If you did not hear from the beginning, we are discussing, are all men ready for full-time provider status that is coming? And we are discussing whether or not the women are ready as well. Let us get set up and we'll be right back. The constant conversation is going on panels whether or not men should be providing at 100% or should it be a 50-50 going on. We are having a discussion today about whether or not all men, are they all ready for the new apparent relationship order. We're going to talk in just a moment. You can type yay or nay in the comments and we will expand. All right, Blurts Flex jumped into the comments over on YouTube, says, I'm ready. How many men are ready? Are you ready for the new apparent relationship order? That's what we're talking about. Stay tuned and we're almost about to get started. So we're having a discussion about whether or not all men ready for full-time provider status that is coming. You can go over on YouTube and add your comment. You can also add your comment over on Facebook. Some of the destinations I may have to go over there to see if you've already added a comment. So I'll check in. TikTok is about to join the chat. Welcome TikTok in just a few moments. They will be joining. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. All right, where else is this available? You can listen now on YouTube. So for those who are trying to find where to tune in, well, for those who are more comfortable tuning in from certain platforms, I'm letting you know where all it is available. So you can feel free to switch it up if you are more comfortable with the conversation. Be right back. All right, let's bring the music down and we're about to get started. We are welcoming in TikTok. So if you are over on TikTok, I am welcoming you in so you can have this conversation right now. You can go to YouTube. I am D Shields on YouTube. If that is your preferred platform, you can join the discussion. It is live and available on YouTube. Also, if you prefer Facebook, it is available for you on Facebook, or you could just join the discussion. Welcome on in. Lena, thank you for stopping in. Stay in. Zay, stay in. You can put a yay or nay. That is not asking much. You can put a yay or nay, or you can tap the microphone if you want to come up and share your opinion. All right, yay or nay, and you can share your opinion. You can also, on the topic, you can. So I'm about to go ahead and give the details for those who were waiting around patiently on the other platforms. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me. Okay, so are all men ready for the new relationship order of full-time provider status? This question, when you come on the microphone, if you will answer that directly, I would highly appreciate it. Are all men ready? All right. And we are also asking, are the women ready for all men to be ready? Are the women ready for it to be all men? And that is a part of the conversation also. So again, we talk about, I'm making sure that all the microphones can hear me. If anyone cannot hear me, make sure that you let me know. So we're talking about Once this one charges, I'll be able to come in a little closer if it seems far away, TikTok, okay? So thank you so much for stopping by all on TikTok. I appreciate you for stopping in. Tap the screen if you will. Thank you so much. I appreciate those taps. If you will continue to tap the screen, I highly appreciate it. All right. So the new apparent order is that there is going to be, rumored to be, whether or not this will happen within, like I said at the beginning of this broadcast over on YouTube, whether or not this will happen within the first 100 days, no one can really say for sure. Is this something that has been talked about and planned for a while? If you've read through Project 2025, which so many people said was a joke, and you are now seeing that individuals that helped write Project 2025 are joining the cabinet, are joining the administration. So since you see those individuals that were the writers of now joining, you pretty much have seen the check. We've been doing a checklist, going through the document, the 900 pages. We've been doing checklists. We've been breaking it down, different content creators. We've been reading it out to you. So we're showing you in different parts that this is not a surprise for those of us who did decide to read the document last year. So a lot of what we're seeing is, new information, the layoffs, and the different departments that are being cut. Saturday Night Live covered it perfectly last night, but the different departments that are being cut, that where the layoffs are happening and different changes are underway in the upending of that you see happening. And when people go back, well, you can't do this because of the Constitution, and they slowly and surely get closer and closer to the rewriting of. If you remember, when that particular person that you guys chose as the winner, when that particular person, when T would go out on the rallies, and T would say out on the rallies, I'm going to make it great again. He would say, I am going to make it, I'm going to take it back to the 1700s. I'm going to take it back to 1790. Well, why such a specific 1798 is such a specific time to say, well, what happened after 1798? What happened in the 1700s? A lot of what you see, the putting together of the Constitution, right? A lot of the things that you see that is allowed right now, and you are defending it based on this part of the Constitution or this amendment, he's undoing that. So when he is undoing that, then we go into the other agenda, which is a main part of the agenda. Men being the full-time providers, women going back home. Not me saying this. I am not the one sending us back home. I want us out there working and doing all that we can, right? So it's not going to be the old way of being back at home, though. It's not going to be just sit at home and have you guys ever gone to hashtag trad wife? Have you ever seen that trend, the trad wife trend? If you have, let me know in the comments if you've seen that. Have you seen that trad wife trend? So that trad wife trend, hashtag trad wife, stands for traditional wife. And so the traditional wives post up all their content, and they're really popular content creators, and they just appear to sit and bake and cook and pregnant and bake, cook, pregnant, have a baby, bake, cook, pregnant, have a baby, bake, cook, pregnant. And that seems like that's all that's happening. This time around, I don't think they're going to make it like that. They're going to have you, encourage you to build your brand on social media, build your shop on wherever it is that you have, from Poshmark. Is that still a thing? From Poshmark to Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Continue to tap the screen as well. Thank you so much, TikTok. You guys are on there participating. I appreciate you. So from Poshmark to eBay, I don't want to say particular brands, popular brands where you can sell your items, and you have your soaps and your candles and your clothing line, your shoes, your courses that you're teaching. You'll be a lot more busy than the old traditional submissive wives of the 1700s. Okay, so you're going to have a lot more to do than the 1800s wives had to do, right? You're going to be a lot more busy because we live in a very modern world. So as he goes out and provides, You're going to have something to do. So it's not like you're not going to have your own personality. I didn't write these rules. I'm reading to you what seems to be the apparent new relationship order with the leaders in charge in the direction that they want this to go. Now, how can they force this to happen? Well, they can force layoffs. And as they choose industries to force layoffs, malls closing, stores closing, schools closing, Department of Education closing, Department of VA, different departments closing, Pentagon closing different places where women have strong jobs and strong positions. It pushes the women back home. Okay. Closing what is written in this document, in this manual that was written for this particular leader. It is said to not maybe possibly lead into, I'm not going to tell you exactly how it reads right now because this is not a Project 2025 discussion. Closing the schools, the public schools, which would then send them home, causing all this chaos and everything going on at the different airports, because those are places where women have jobs. And so when you begin to make all these different changes and decisions, then the women get laid off from there. The women get laid off from retail, major retail chains closing their doors where women have jobs. Major corporate spaces moving from places where women are working to relocating to other states. So those women end up losing their jobs and staying in maybe Kentucky. Just made one particular company made a huge move from Kentucky to Texas, which left all the women working in that corporate space to stay in their state with their families, their husbands, their children, and now moving over to the more, move of Texas, which Texas is really, really, really moving towards more men getting jobs than women, right? So when you say, how will they go about doing this? How is it that it's possible that they're going to make it where men are the full-time providers? And then doing an executive order over the past few days. I don't know how many days it's been. I've lost count since they've been in charge. So doing an executive order that says that we will only recognize two genders. That's an executive order of the United States of America. That is no longer a conversation. Changing the website to where it right now, I don't even know if the letters that are left are going to continue to be recognized, because if you think about what's in that document, but Project 2025, I don't even think will even recognize the what is it? L, G, and B is now the only thing that you find on the official websites of the particular leadership in charge. They're no longer recognizing T and any other letters, because the new law, executive order written by the president, the leader in charge, says that they will only recognize two genders, male and woman. And in that same agenda that they're speaking of, and where this is all being put together, and in the closed doors of individuals that say, how dare you walk into the White House and not wear a suit? Bully, 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 a whole leader from another country for over an hour in the Oval Office. Those individuals are ones that believe in the wording within the document that says that women need to stay home. Paraphrase. That's the short version. And in that, they want men to be full-time providers. And in that, they want the women to be at home, or not at home, but just not handling business as they like to see it to be, right? Women have jobs at malls. They're making sure that malls are closing. They have a huge movement to close a bunch of the malls. And one of the two or three investment groups have just joined together, including Shaquille O'Neal's investment group, and they've purchased a lot of these spaces. Are they going to continue these spaces as malls? Because some of the investment group that are involved have already remodeled malls that they managed to close into living spaces. Some pros and cons that come with it. A lot of the cons that come with it is that they don't have water inside of a lot of the stores. You go to Old Navy, there's not a restroom. So if they turn Old Navy into a living space that someone, and I've seen, if you haven't, go to YouTube, I've seen the success of two popular malls that got turned into a living space, and it's kind of unique because it now has, each one of what used to be a department store or a store now has doors. And in those particular, they're all individual, they have their numbers, and they're all individual apartments. And then they walk what used to be the hallways of the mall, and then they have a food court, and they have bookstores and salons, and they've created like a whole community, right? So, Crimson says it seems that they want women barefoot and pregnant. Over on YouTube, says that they don't want women barefoot and pregnant, because that would then take it really, it's going to be more modern. For sure, it is going to be more modern, but they are making sure that the women are at home. Now, if you go into the hashtag trad wife, you would see that it is happiness that the trad wives say. I'm quoting people. I'm not saying whether I stand on the yay or nay of it. That it is happiness, where they say that they having babies for their man, cooking for their man. If my mother were, let's go into upbringing, right? So if my mother were here, if my grandmother were here, this was something that I watched my mother do from, from my younger years all the way up into my adult years, right? Was just in that traditional wife, role, the religion that we were in and the belief set of that we were in. This was very common. So seeing my father off, packing his lunch, seeing him off, getting us ready, sending us to school, making sure the breakfast was done, coming in, my father comes in, running his bath water, getting dinner ready, getting everyone dressed for dinner. Everyone has dinner, repeat and do it all over again with the Sunday nights and Wednesday nights and all in between nights of church. That was what she did by the majority. Did she work? There were times when she worked, but not very often. And most of the work that she did was for my father's business, right? The administrative side of things. So I've seen it happen. I know, of course, my children saw me work. So there's a generation of people that don't understand what this is. But the old men in charge, those individuals that are in charge of this particular way of doing things, they've seen it. They grew up with it. They know exactly what it is. They're older than me, so they see it even, more strict version of this, right? So when we talk about this, and this being what it is that they would, apparent new order, new relationship order that they would like to see, where you've heard them pop into the comments on different topics. You've seen them show up in my comments and they say, no, D Shields, women need to stay at home. We would make more money, D Shields, because they are, it's funny, the type of men that believe in, the type of men that believe in this particular mindset, in this belief set, are huge followers of, and it's not going to be a shock to some, but it's going to be a shock to a few, of misogynist types like Andrew Tate. Like, they're real huge followers of Andrew Tate and his brother, right? And so I found it ironic that somehow a ban was lifted for the brothers to come back into the United States at such a time as this. And the brothers are in the United States, back doing their rounds on the podcast. And I've seen a couple of interviews and all these different things that are planned, and talking about the Tates are back and we're about to get this going, because they have such an extreme way of thinking about women. So they love to use Andrew Tate as the blueprint. So because he's never scared. Is that a good description of Andrew Tate? He's just never scared, right? So they have this concept, this way of thinking, this way of being, right? And we're going to take a break for just a second, in just a moment, and get your yays and nays up. I'm going to go check on all the platforms that are live. Welcome Facebook, welcome YouTube, welcome TikTok. Please tap that screen TikTok if you will, please, and continue to follow. To continue to follow. We are still in the middle of our mass following. I would highly appreciate it. So I think we may have to call him AT. I don't even know if the algorithm will allow me to say his name, right? AT and his brother, you know who I'm talking about from this point out, right? So AT and his brother happen to be, back in the U.S., right? And they happen to be back, and they're going to maybe, I don't know. I just want to know what they're here to do. Are they here to pack up the house? Face charges. What is it that they're here to do? But they are scheduled to return, because they have to legally. They are scheduled to return back to Romania. Now, the T administration had, and all representatives of, and even the leader himself sat in the Oval and said, I know him. I know nothing about him. I'm going to have to do some research. Like, he did the whole Keke Palmer. I do not know this man. I do not know this man. So he act like he has no idea who Andrew Tate is, but he's back, and his brother are back. So why now? So when people say, well, how soon do you think they're going to push this new apparent relationship order where men are 100% providers and women have to be in a position of being provided for, and women are not going to be allowed in workspaces? How soon will they push this particular agenda? Are they planning to push it within the first 100 days? I can't tell. What I can tell is that a lot is happening within the first 100 days. A lot faster when reading through Project 2025. I thought that we were looking at a document when we read it last year. I thought that we were looking at these people like, okay, let's just vote. Let's just vote. We're not letting these people, we're not going back. We're not going back. You heard our choice tell us. She said over and over again, we're not going back. We stood with her. We're not going back, because those of us who had read Project 2025, we understood what the going back was. So we kept saying it to you, but somehow you guys didn't get the memo, because he's going to be the crypto god, right? Crypto crashed since then, but he's going, I'm still holding, but that's not financial advice here or there. But I'm just saying, but we've seen what's been happening in the crypto market, and you had all these, he's going to give us a $1,500 check, talking like you've never had money before. A $1,500 check with his signature on a piece of paper that comes in the mail. So you went and chose him for that. But we kept saying we are not going back. So now you are the same people that are out in the streets going, send him home. Impeach? No, impeach what? Impeach a peach in my hand so I can sit back and chew it while I drink my wine, because we told you. So I'm just going to eat my peaches and just sit back and watch what's coming, right? And I happen to be a type of person that I don't mind sitting at home and being provided for. So send me the provider of all providers, God, of the way my prayers run. I don't know how y'all operate in them streets, because I'm still going to write my books. I've written 6 books. I'll finish the other 24. I'm going to continue to write my books. I'm going to continue to do my podcast. I'm going to continue to build my brand. I will continue to go do my motivational speaking. He's not saying that you can't do all those things. They are just saying that you will do that at the dime of your husband. You will do that at the dime of your child's father. There is even something in the document that says that the single woman will not be able to stay at home by herself with the children that she has, because the single mother will be required to allow back into that home the one who helped her bring those children to be. But y'all are not ready for that, because you think Project 2025 is a joke. You think all 900 pages were just ink to paper. So when they complete this riding out into the sunset of Project 2025 laws and rules, they will be implementing the things that are on there, because they have been doing this so far. So if you think that it is a joke, that is on you to continue to think in that way. But we take it back. After all that I said, yay or nay in the comments, are all men going to be ready for this new relationship order of full-time provider status if the leadership in charge changes things the way that they've been doing. There's even a question mark and a kind of, I am not sure about whether or not they will allow women to continue in the military. So, are all men ready if they push women out of critical job positions? Are all men ready for full time 100% provider status of your homes? Yay or nay? Are you ready? Player from the Himalaya. You know you my favorite. Y'all are my favorite because y'all ratchet, tacky, and nasty, sassy, chatty at all times. So I love to attack you at all times because I can. So player from the Himalaya. Are you ready? Player from the Himalaya to settle down in your 30s and 40s, 20s, wherever status you are, rolling around in the eggplant lands where it lands status. Are you ready to solely put your eggplant in the homes of one and choose your one and take care of your one at 100%? Now, seeing as how the cheaters to be are in charge, I'm pretty sure they're going to continue to allow statuses of laying up and spreading wide. And I'm pretty sure that's why the AT and his brother are back in the States so they can set up shop for those who like to, dab into that can't keep it to yourself streets, right? So I'm pretty sure that there's going to be fun places for you to go. They're never going to get rid of that. It existed way back. Hoeing existed before Jesus existed. I said what I said. No need to hold back. So I'm pretty sure it's going to continue. Okay, 304. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that I'm on live on this other app also. So with all that being said, the player will have to find his boo and choose. So the player's going to have to find his boo and choose, and he's going to have to settle down. And you're going to have to provide at 100%. And then the guys that say, why can't she just put in on the light bill? You're not going to be able to say that anymore because they're not going to be allowing her to go anywhere to work. So she won't be able to put in on the light bill, boo. That's going to be all on you. So if that were to happen, I have no time frame. I am not sure if this is something that they're going to work into the first 100 days. Will they work this into the first year? Will this happen within the second, the third, the fourth year of his administration? Or if he totally deletes the Constitution as threatened in Project 2025 and from his very own mouth. If he does away with the Constitution and does as he wants, he will be the dictator in charge for the remainder of life. His family maybe will continue on, and he has several sons. So for the next 300 years, if this is the way of being, are all the men that you look at, if you just put your phone device down, whatever, remote down, turn it down if you have to, do whatever. Look around at the men around you. Are you raising the ones that will be in the future that this will impact? Are you in a relationship with the one that this impacts? Are you around your brother, your cousins? Look around at the men and what they're doing right now as you're listening. Those guys, are they ready to be 100% 100% providers for their home? Because women will not be allowed in the spaces of making money out there. Not that I think that they will be this extreme. I'm not defending the administration at any time. I just think that what their issue is that they wanted to have this look of leadership of men again. Put on a suit, they told him. His country doesn't put on suits when they're at war. That's not what his belief set is. The President Zelensky walked in war status. That's how he came into the Oval Office. But they said put on a suit. Who else are they going to say put on a suit to? They'll never get Elon to put on a suit. He'll put on a suit when he wants to put on a suit. If he doesn't feel like putting on a suit, he won't. He is the richest man in the world. He will do as he pleases. But the rest of you, will you have to put on a suit? Because these guys says that it's tacky or whatever. They went into the conversation that they went into about men walking around without suits, right? So will they have to? Thank you for stopping by, you guys. If I have not mentioned you, I see you. So please continue to tap the screen over there on TikTok. I see you. And then we're going to take a break in just a moment. So those guys that you just took a look at, are they ready? Will they be that person taking care of the home? Now, like I say, I particularly believe that women will continue to have resources and ways of making money and investing, and they're going to make sure. If you guys, like, say in a world where everyone just agrees to let it happen peacefully, right? And say, okay, say if the women just all got together and said, okay, we're going to stay home real quick for like a trial, just to see what you're capable of. And so say if the women stay at home and the guy's in charge, are they going to make sure that he has your income and his income as an income on the particular jobs? That's a real critical thing to know. That's going to be a real critical thing to know, because if it's going to be that they will have 6-figure incomes in order to provide, will that then be enough for you all? Like to say, okay, will that bring the stress down? Would you be willing to stay at home and start your own business? Would you be willing to, he's out doing the corporate workspace or whatever type of job that we all have so many jobs, right? Would you be willing? And if so, do you think all the women around you in your circle are going to be the type of women that would be willing to say, okay, I'll be taken care of? And I don't know, the way they talk sometimes, it reminds me of the trauma, like they call it trauma, of how I grew up, where they would choose who you're going to marry, right? And in the belief set in the church that my parents were in. So if they choose who you're going to marry, they have your person out there for you. Are you going to accept them and be willing to go be with that person? And if the ruling and the writing of the document is as it states, your guy that you had the children with has to come back home. Some of us, that's not a safe thought, right? But are you willing to let that person come back home, and are you going to be able to coexist to raise those children if that's the new law of the land? It's a new executive order every day. I can't promise you what will and will not be a law of the land. All I can do is look at what I think is the blueprint, and that is the 920-something page document called Project 2025 that has this type of language in it. So in your environment, who's all ready? Let's take a break real quick. TikTok will be coming back. I hope you can hear it. Thanks for stopping back in. 45 minutes of the topic. So again, it will be available only on a clip of it will be available on TikTok. You will see this clip available on TikTok. If you follow me, I am D Shield CO. For those who are listening in on YouTube or Facebook. Facebook, the link will not be available, but you will be able to again go to TikTok to take a look at the clip. And if you want the full show, the only place the full show will be available is on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube. What D Says, the podcast. You can find me on YouTube. I am D Shields. That's all you have to type in the banner search area on YouTube, and you will be able to find me. So my final answer: are all men ready for a full-time provider status that is coming? Are all men ready for this full-time provider status that is coming? Are all women ready for the new relationship order of full-time provider status, a parent order that appears to be happening with the current administration in charge, where women are at home, men are out getting the job offers, making the main money? My thoughts: not all men are ready. You knew where I was going with this. All men are not ready. All women are not ready. That's an extreme. They know this. They're fully aware of this. Something that this is not an overnight. But you are going to be seeing signs of this, and you're going to start seeing how they are pushing the women back home. Take a look at what's going on around you. Are they going to start making sure that people are holding themselves in a certain demeanor and carrying themselves a certain way? The airlines already are. So different departments, different jobs, the requirements are switching. No more relaxed way of dressing. A lot's happening. You're seeing the movements. The malls, get rid of them. People coming in and out, fighting, carrying on. Curfews are going on. Are you noticing that your metros are changing how you can hang out in metro spaces? Light rails, buses, changing the times, how you can hang out, what you can do, who can ride. They're slowly implementing the new way of being, taking it back to their favorite era, the 1700s and 1800s. Interesting for us as a culture. In 1800, they said they want to take it back to 1798. In 1800 was when they had several ships go over to Liberia and took the slaves that had recently been freed and took a lot of the slaves over to Liberia to start their own nation because they were free. They didn't give them any resources, and Liberia became what we see it to be, right? But there's been a new movement where our nation has even donated what is the equivalent of $1 billion in Liberia. Our nation donated for Liberia to be able to upgrade. What was the reason for our nation? Look it up. It's not just, it's actual real information. Why did we, the United States, donate what is the equivalent of $1 billion to Liberia? Who's on the way back? So again, will they do this within the first 100 days in the next 4 years, or will this take to 2030? Will this take till 2034? Will this take 15, 20, 30 years? Will this take 100 years to implement a new apparent order where men have the majority of the income coming in? Men are the 100% providers. Women are with men. No single. There's a language in Project 2025 that seems to insinuate that no one's really going to be allowed to just be a single baby mama. That's not really going to be the way of being. They're not going to be really encouraging that or allowing it. Who's going to implement these ways of being and controlling thousands, millions, thousands of homes per community, millions of people across the nation? How they're going to go about this, I don't know. Are others going home that aren't aware of? Or, there was our people. Look it up. The history of the Coleman family, Liberia. The Coleman family that came back from Liberia back into America. But look up what happened to the slaves that were sent in 1800 to Liberia to get started. And Look up how our nation has just donated in 2025 $1 billion Liberian dollars. Look it up. No one has a reason to be making it up. Okay. All right. So that's it. I'm going to save a clip from here. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you very greatly. TikTok, I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone stopped by. I didn't get to say all your names this time, but thank you. All right. YouTube, Facebook. Oh, nice. I appreciate that. That's good views and good numbers over there on TikTok. So, YouTube and Facebook, again, the full will be available on YouTube, and you can also get a clip of it so you can continue to add your opinions maybe throughout the day if you want to. It's just a yay or nay. And if you want to expand, I would love to see what you expand and say. So I welcome all comments. Alrighty. So Honey says, I will be ready. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate each and every one of you. And we are closing out. Will you be ready? Yay or nay? 100% providing and taking care of, because the women may or may not be able to work. Women, are you ready for this full-time provider status that is apparently possibly coming? Men, are you ready? And what are you going to be doing to make sure that you're ready? I'm Coach D Shields. I'm your favorite podcaster. What D Says, the podcast. You can find me on socials. I am D Shields. You can find me on TikTok. I am D Shields CO for the fun, because you get a lot more of the fun me over there and a lot more participation. Thanks, loves.